Pro have been great early game, but they have not been able to close out games easily.
Yeah, and it's a lot of this is champion select means a lot to both of these teams and what they end up doing in the game, because they keep changing their strategy pretty drastically between games.
Yeah.
And then they have to adapt their mindset in that game. They have to adapt their communication. So if you're doing a split push, it's like, all right, 1-3-1, we're just splitting off. This was kind of team fight for LoL Pro, and they went a little too hard into Coast.
Yeah, well, we're going to see now new picks and bans here. Thresh, Tristana, Ziggs, all away from different members of Coast. Meanwhile, Coast all getting rid of Hanser champions. And yet he still loves playing Shyvana and Mundo over and over again. And even the Rise is still up. His Rise was very good. Yasuo contested on both sides. I just want to know what these guys really consider important here. You expect Santorin probably to first round pick Nunu if he can get it.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of time here for LoL Pro's side to figure out what that first pick is going to be for them. Zed is up, but it's not a 100% contested pick. And they are going to go for the Nunu and put Santorin on something else.
Okay, so the Nunu steal is what LoL Pro wanted. You thought Santorin's going to play a better early game on a non-Nunu champion anyway. We might just see Team Coast have a good early game for once here off this. We'll see, but honestly, you've seen so many games come out now. You realize there's contested picks you didn't realize were so important before. You've got to say, okay, maybe the Lucian's really important of all things. Maybe the Rise is not something we can let Hanser play again.
Yeah, and Heaven Time, he actually played Nunu 3 times over the past 2 days and has had great success for. He's one of those people who was part of the 100% Nunu win rate for a bit there.
Yep.
And during playoffs.
And it is going to be the 2 steals.
Steal it away for Rux in the top lane there. He actually loves that Rise. I've seen him play it so many times because it's kind of a lane bully mage that does transition to the late game. Like, Rise's early game is fantastic against almost all the top laners currently in the meta.
Yeah.
Especially when you have multiple ones banned out, it's going to have an even better time.
There's a lot of really passive ones that just let you farm. We saw the Lulu lose the matchup before. We got to see what Hanser wants to play here. My random blind guess, he just goes to Mundo and tries to play the farm game and hopes team fights go well for him.
It depends on what they want for themselves, because they lock in something like a Yasuo, they may go Shyvana.
Yeah, true.
The Mundo is definitely the champion that he's had one of his best games on. I think 2 of his best games on have actually been Mundos.
They're taking their time there. The Zillion for Patoy, they actually might not want it. They think the Braum went better. Heaven Time didn't realize he had to pick a champion. Types in Corky. He didn't realize he hadn't clicked that champion yet. You saw that. Oh, shoot.
Lot's like, come on.
Could you pick the champion, please?
Dude.
Well, good to know he was focused on his team communication. Really talking with his team there. But Corky does come through for signature. We know both AD carries. We know one of the supports. Team Coast could get first dibs on a mid laner if they want. Or they could round out their bottom lane knowing what they are facing against. Every single time he clicks Shaco.
Yep.
It's never true. Santorin gets Lee Sin, and Morgana versus Braum. Good pick so far.
So I was talking to Santorin, and one of his favorite champions is tied between Lee Sin and Lise. Big thing though, he hates playing Lee Sin into Nunu. He hates it. He's like, he just bullies me, and then he'll ice ball me and blood boil away. And that's it. He basically just poops on his day. He says, this is it, we're done. And the fact that no more attack speed slow, Nunu increases his own attack speed, his dueling powers actually increased.
True.
So he just doesn't like it. It's a nuisance.
Would you say it's a new nuisance?
It's a new nuisance, exactly.
It
and
is.
He's going to play into it anyway.
Well, we'll see how good Santorin's Lee Sin ends up being. There's the hover on Mundo. And let's see what Lod wants in the mid lane. It is potentially going to be Zed locked in.
It is a blind pick Zed. And here's the funny thing. The 2 times that we have seen Lod lock in a Zed for himself, and he's all smiles, we've basically made highlight reels for him.
Yep.
The 2v1s that he had a couple days ago, coming out on top. I think there was even like a 3-on-2 where his teammate had no HP, and it was basically a 3-on-1. And then the back door. But he blind picks it. That's the confidence he has in this champion here, and his performance on it, of course. Yeah, but that's the champion that he selects to blind pick.
Yep. Team Coast now. Will they realize they've got to ban Zed in Game 5, or will they close it out here? Golden Glue gonna get the Orianna for himself.
You talked about his champion pool. Now he basically has one. He expanded it to Orianna, showed that in the LCS the next day, and it's the champion every time we talk about it. It's one of those comfort champions for him that he shows up on.
Orianna's not too bad. His Yasuo's pretty good as well. That one does go through uncontested, though. So, top lane, Mundo versus Ryze, Nunu versus Lee Sin in the jungle, Zed versus Orianna mid. The bot lane, a lane I think is better for Coast here. Corki Braum versus Lucian Morgana. Now the one thought is though, Corki is kind of uniquely able to break Black Shield to allow the stuns to come through from Braum. Maybe they can actually turn that matchup back in Braum's favor, but typically you see Morg win that.
Yeah, and once again, another game where there's no Kog'Maw, picked or banned.
Yep.
EU's crying right now because they had 100% pick ban during their entire playoffs of Kog'Maw.
Well, not the case here, guys. NA Challenger forging their own paths. Just seconds away from Summoner's Rift, so why not rock the vote? We're in America after all. Tell us who you think will take the series by tweeting at LOL Esports, either hashtag ProWin or hashtag CSTWin, and we'll reveal who you picked in a few minutes.
And these votes are not rigged at all.
Hey man, the crowd got it wrong last time. They voted LOL Pro, and Coast took out Game 3.
Yeah.
Some of the guys here didn't, but the internet by
I don't know, did you guys tweet?
Did you tweet enough to outweigh everyone else, guys? I don't know if you did, so it's your fault.
Hashtag harder.
Hashtag more strongly. Use all caps, maybe that'll help a little bit. They are still doing better than you are at predicting votes.
I stopped, because I'm like, I'm 2-0 against Phreak in a best of 5. I just don't want to play anymore.
You 0-2 then didn't show up for Game 3? That's still a loss, I believe.
I don't know, man. I would just say it's been postponed.
It's been postponed. Well, you've certainly been pwned.
Yeah.
Here we go, guys. LOL Pro looking to make it 2-2 and give us a 9-game day. Whole bunch of fun. Signature. Make his way out in the mid lane. Dance off. Dance off.
They did a dance off last time. Golden Glue might be looking for. Oh,
there it is.
The ritual of the dance off has been begun.
What's your Corki story?
I was flipping everywhere.
I was flipping everywhere. Batoy running away, though. He's got to be a little bit careful. Binding missed. Trinkets traded. Vlad's chilling with his homie. His fake shadow.
How lonely. Oh. Ha! Got him.
All right, Lod going to back off. Sheep, can he get the bind? Good dodge by Lod. And so far, nothing really done in the early game here. Heaven Time gets a aggressive ward down. I think it actually got pinged on. But he will be able to very easily track Santorin. Good bind, 5 gold for Sheep, now 10 gold for Sheep. Early game lead for Team Coast. Look at that. Look at that money he's got right there. Outplayed.
I love that they swapped to it.
Hey.
He's got a potion.
They showed the Lulu CS at my request. They showed that.
You're just so satisfied with the amount of power that you think you have. Just never give Phreak any power. It's a little scary. I'm personally scared for my own safety at this moment, sharing the desk with you after that laugh. Please. Anyway. No! Stop! Vagar, where did you come from?
I think that was Champ selecting game 2 of TSM versus... There we go! Vlad takes it down, 3 CS for himself. Santorin and Rux and Sheep are 3-manning the jungle. This is new for me.
They're going to look for an early gank. If Sheep lands a binding,
oh man,
it's game over, man.
Ever in prison? Q lands, bind. Oh, drinks him into the turret. Rux, I wish he had gotten Rune Prison and flash W'd. Because that would have been Lod probably dying.
I don't know if they would have had the if they would have landed the follow-up binding, then
yeah,
yes.
You flash bind afterwards. Then you just go hard. You burn 3 flashes for a first blood, and you say worth it in all chat.
This has been tips with Phreak that you should never take.
I thought it was a good move, though. It really nearly paid off, though. It was close. And it did burn the flash from Lod, all things considered. So still an advantage, still hashtag worth it. Santorin and Rux going to duo this one. And it's going to be Sheep making his way back down to the bot lane to chill out with Mash.
Yeah, so what ended up happening there is they went for the lane swap, but they also went for the invade. So Heaven Time ended up getting the enemy red, and Santorin ended up getting LoL Pro's red.
So things to track then is how much farm those solo lanes are actually getting, and how well the AD carries are farming in their versus 0 lanes. So far, Zig and Mash basically perfect.
More Roam Squad coming out, though, because they're going to go towards this dragon for LoL Pro. Santorin's in the vicinity, though.
Santorin spots this, says, guys, my dragon. And LoL Pro says, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Signature, meanwhile, he's going to be farming the top. And there's the TP from Rux.
All right, he will hold the wave in time as it pushes in very slowly. Rux is down in XP against Signature here, but he should be able to hold on. And Rise has his tier when he gets in the lane, so he's going to start that stack. Laud taking a bit of damage. Golden Glue doing very well in this lane already. 24-18 in CS. It's a good start right now for Coast.
Yeah, also the fact that Laud does not have his flash anymore opens him up to having to be very passive in this lane.
Yes.
Using his shadow aggressively could be a death sentence for him, especially if the wave pushes out. So we can't really harass Golden Glue too much from a distance.
And here's the real big test. So a recall for Golden Glue. Laud could push the wave really fast. Santorin, though, could freeze the wave right in front of the turret and completely ruin Laud's day. Not going to happen here. He'll get the push pretty safely. And that'll just reset.
He backed, got himself a tier. So he's going to go for that same build where he gets tier, Seeker's Arm Guard, and then Morellonomicon after that.
Smart choice.
He's well on his way to that, but meanwhile, they're making use of this Nunu. Big thing with Nunu jungle. You get inside of a lane. You don't spend too much time in the jungle unless you're counter jungling, and then you blood boil somebody and you push a turret.
Yeah. And actually, we swapped the lanes back as well, by the way. So even after tier got picked up, LawPro said, you know what? Yeah, let's go back and fight you guys here. So Signature, hoping that he can win the 2-on-2 alongside Patoy. Hoping that Hanser does well against Rux here. He had been winning so far, but I feel like Mundo versus tier Rise means a lot harder. I don't know if Hanser's going to get that dominant lane here.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hanser's gone for more of a passive farm scale lane.
Yeah. What he does have, though, is a TP advantage for 2 minutes. So by 7:30, or about actually 7 minutes, I suppose, LawPro can go for a 5v4 Dragon attempt with a Nunu, with a Corki pushing a lane.
There is harassment on the top lane onto Hanser right now. Santorin, he is on that left side of the jungle. He could possibly make an aggressive play behind the turret, but he's not going to go for it. So he's not going to make a play on the pre-6 Mundo. Instead, he's going to look mid.
Without Ignite, there's not enough damage there. Without another person coming up, I don't think they would kill Hanser in time. He's got Flash and enough health right now. So not the case. Heaven Time, though, only level 3, having a pretty slow run through this.
Oh.
Gets a ward for his team. Pink ward makes sure he's safe.
Heaven Time snuck himself in that bush, but he's going to find a pink ward.
Oh, gets turned around by Golden Glue, and he knows there's a ward around. It's like, that's probably a pink ward in that brush. Checks this one, says nope.
No, there's nothing there.
It's the other one. He knows.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, he pings it.
Is that Santorin walked by that bush now, and he knows that he has level advantage over Heaven Time at this moment, and they're going to find this pink.
Wow. That pink ward lasted all of about 25 seconds here. Team Coast up 300 gold.
And that pink ward.
They're getting rid of a lot of early vision that LawPro's trying to put down. Good find. 15 gold for Sheep.
Brahm's coming up from the side, though.
Good Black Shield. Heaven Time is down to 300 health right now. Apparently, if you bring some backup, you win that matchup.
Yeah, and they're trying to get dominance of this jungle.
Wow, look how aggressive that pink ward is. They're just saying, don't you dare sit in that lower jungle. This is Coasts.
It's definitely going to put Sheep on duty. Sit there and zone him off. Don't want him getting the second red buff. They are invading on a Nunu as a team.
I'm so impressed that Coast were able to make that play despite Hanser having teleport, and then nothing happened to them.
And that's actually going to cause Heaven Time to run over and try to get the red of Coast.
Heaven Time is level 3 at 7.5 minutes right here. Almost out of mana. Does get his Quillcoat ward down, but this gives complete map control over the eastern and southern side of the map to Team Coast. Santorin gets his own red buff steal. And if he could realize that Nunu was so far away, it's a Dragon too.
Yeah, he's going to get himself level 5 off of this. Still very far ahead of Heaven Time in this moment.
Heaven Time got 5 off that camp.
Oh, wow. He flew up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the bonus XP you get for being under-leveled on big camps.
Yeah, you pretty much hit 6 off of your big camp most of the time.
Yeah.
Of your second round.
If you get both buffs, you're almost guaranteed 6. Santorin gonna get the blue buff over to Golden Glue. Not quite 6 in the Lee Sin.
He's very close. He's almost there. Another camp would most likely give it to him. But the play that he makes off of that. He told me if he plays Lee Sin today, he's gonna try to insect people. See if he holds true.
Find out. Heaven Time sweeps away the ward. Only level 5 here. Red buff on. He's not over on the side of the map for the blue buff just yet. And right now, Coast really haven't looked like they've wanted to take this dragon, though. Santorin looks like he's waiting till level 6 to do anything here. I'm surprised. I felt like there was a window here where they could have forced the issue, gotten control over dragon. But right now, it's just Hanser and Rux battling. CS holding pretty close, to be fair. Rux not pushing too far ahead. Hanser burning his ulti for some sustain.
Oh, they ping it.
There's the dragon attempt. Coast are trying now. 9 minutes in. TP up on both sides. Hanser, no ultimate.
Nunu, he's trying to run across the map. He's late.
He is trying to, but he won't get there in heaven time. Mash gonna take this one down rather rapidly. There it is. Picked up by Santorin, and out goes Coast. Nice dragon.
TP was used by Hanser as well, and then canceled. So he didn't go through, and now Rux has the teleport advantage in the top lane.
That's actually a pretty big thing for Coast right here. Good early game plays now, 1,300 gold lead. Now LoL Pro tries for the blue buff. And they'll get that pretty easily over to Lod, but better plays for Coast now. They win this game, they make the promo tournament.
And Coast, they definitely came into this as the favorites in playoffs.
Sure.
And in this 3rd and 4th place match. But the summer 1 and 2 champions have been hitting a rut lately.
Yeah, they slowed down a little bit at the very end of the season. You hope in a month they pick it back up and go at full power. And you gotta wonder actually as well, when you're potentially Dignitas, Evil Geniuses, and Complexity, you say, which team do we pick here? Who do we hope to face in that promo tournament? How scary do Coast look?
Yeah,
a month ago, 100% it's Complexity facing him. Now, yeah. I don't know.
And how scary does Team 8 look in the coming matches?
They finally turned it on late in the season. And of course, we'll see them play tomorrow against Curse Academy, who's also been kind of a sleeper hit. But they're in the finals, and Curse Academy could show that they're incredible as well. Let's see, there's the jump in. Sheep wants in on this one. No ulti, though. The flashbind missed for nothing lost. Rux ults in, though. Can he get the rune prison on Patoy? No, forces the flash away, and the Valkyrie away as well. Big summon spell lost by Coast. That did not pay off.
And meanwhile, they tried to make a 2v2 mid.
Uh-oh, Shockwave on Heaven Time, but he's so tanky. More cooldowns for Coast that mean nothing.
Meanwhile, up top, Hanser, he's just going to continue to push this. And Rux, he's going to have to trek his way all the way back up, but he's going to make a stop in the mid lane.
1,000 gold lead Coast. Yeah, pit stop didn't do much. Make his way back up. Hanser got some free farm. Hanser's now up 11 CS with some turret pressure. Late arrival of Rux. LoL Pro catching up a little bit here. 1v1 battle. Hanser wants that. He's going to deny a fair bit of CS here. Rux at half HP, and Hanser's regenning.
Trying to go for the effective trade here with his ultimate on over Rux and poke him down. Meanwhile, Santorin, he's actually pinging that top lane and might make a visit there behind the Mundo.
Ooh, this could be interesting. I don't know if they quite have damage. Okay.
The flash is up, but he doesn't have his ultimate. He just burned it. And here we go, behind the turret.
There's the kick. Nice flash to get him a little farther away. Hanser down to 300 health. The flash in by Rux there, forcing it. And he does get the damage. Rux with first blood 12 minutes in.
The 12-minute first blood. It took so long to set up a play like that. They gave them that opening that they needed. Yep. And now they're going to continue to push this top lane out with the Lee Sin there.
That is a lot better for Coast. Now they keep finding advantages. 1,400 gold ahead. And it looks like the pressure finally mounting properly for these guys. Golden Glue completely treading water against Lod.
Yeah, they're just going even against each other in this moment. Golden Glue has gotten one more back, and he got himself the tier, and he's been charging it up, whereas Lod's just been sitting on that longsword with all his potions used.
Nice play by Team Coast. Santorin stays in the top lane, knocks the turret down, actually opens up even more roaming opportunities off that lane. Local gold all goes to Rux, and this Rise is powering up.
Yeah, Santorin, really this series, we talked about the 90% kill participation he had last game, and the 17 KDA, make it even higher now.
Yep.
In this series, he has a loss under his belt in this best of 5 already, and he's still holding such a high KDA. And now, on Lee Sin, hit one of his signature champions. We saw Mash on his Vayne. Gonna get a little taste of that Santorin Lee Sin and see what he can do there. And LoL Pro, they may have to respect it in the coming games if they end up winning this one. We'll see.
Well, they've got to get some work back in this one. LoL Pro, though, they're down 2K. Mash and Sheep making good headway in this bot lane. Brutalizer, Lucian doing well. The sweep comes in. They don't know about this gank. This is a big risk for Coast. They stay for the turret. They're going to knock it down, but in comes Signature and co. Down it goes. Now the jump onto Sheep. He dodges away from the Glacial Fissure. Signature getting some good damage down, but Sheep has nowhere to go. 1 kill picked up, and now Mash is in a bad spot as well. Patoy comes in. He runs to the turret. He's going to be dying really quickly.
Blood Boil to speed them up. And
Heaven time. Oh, is it execute? He's 7 heals for range, but LawPro did get a tag earlier. Santorin shows back up in the top lane, gets another gank through there, another ult for the kill.
Kicks him into the wall for the stun.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 trade overall, but a turret going to Coast.
Yeah, so it's another still just about 2K difference between these teams. 3K. Santorin turning to the scene of the crime. No flash used still. Safeguarding to his buddy. Kick into the wall for the extra stun to make sure he lands the Sonic Wave resonating strike.
Exactly the right play there. Leave nothing up the chance. You can wait for the Q. It's worth the wait. Bottom lane does go down thanks to the gank, though, that came in from everyone else. And LawPro brought the game back to 2,000 again. Sheep wants pink ward control, but Toy's going to contest. Dragons up in 20. Both teams want it.
And here's the thing, too, is that I talked about that top lane. Hauntzer's been winning it over and over and over and over again. And I was talking about the Nunu, how it's not a very gank-heavy champion. Santorin now on a gank-heavy champion top, he's ganked Haunter twice.
Yeah.
He's actually even in CS against Rux with those 2 ganks.
And that is Santorin making much better things happen. I mean, he was ganking a lot last game, too, or a few games ago, trying to make the Lulu matchup work. And it seems like that jungle top synergy is working best from Team Coast. And NACS can finally capitalize on that extra gold by being Ryze himself, getting that farm and keeping Haunter down.
Sheep with the Moby boots.
Well, he doesn't quite hit the bind, though. Q lands. Good
TP
reveal,
coming in from
here
behind.
Comes the flank from Haunter. He's on top of Santorin, kicks him across the wall. Sheep is there. Now can LawPro win this fight? Absolute Zero not going to find too much, but Santorin flashing away will go down to Lod. Good shockwave on the return. Now Mash pushing back Heaven time. Zig goes in, wants Mash, Summoner, he'll trade it back and forth. That is 2 kills for 1 so far. Rux did find an individual kill. The Coast actually on the losing end of this fight right here. But there's no smite.
And then backing on top of a ward, Patoy cancels his recall. Haunter.
She gets a bind. Still more poke coming out from Golden Glue, but LawPro did claw back in a little bit more. 1,700 gold game, bit closer after that battle.
They recall.
Oh, Sheep! He's got the shield, but the Ignite is on.
Oh!
Lod does go down. Actually, more gold goes over to Coast for this one. And their junglers are both coming back in right now. Coast start the Dragon.
That was pretty clearly a suicide mission there. He wasn't getting back to that shadow. That's going to be a Dragon for Team Coast.
Alrighty, so Team Coast getting farther ahead now, 3,000 gold up. The early game finally going well for these guys. And they're doing well with the lead.
Everything all
trying to make plays.
Everything all said and done. Good decision making there by Coast. They ended up losing the fight, but they ended up winning the battle over the Dragon.
And it's beautiful stuff right now. Team Coast can actually keep the pressure going. Lod only now getting back into the map, but mid lane outer already goes down. Coast already have taken now the 3 outer turrets. 4,000 gold up.
Yeah, the Moby Boots is helping Sheep get in there. But right here, this flank, Santorin goes over the wall and right into Haunter. Kicks him over, but then he gets focused down. Watch Lod on this. He goes after Santorin, jumps back, actually gets hit by the shockwave when he returns, and then he chases after Mash. While the entire time, Haunter was zoning multiple members. Look at this, they're going after Santorin.
Well, blocks the slow, though. Deathmark does a little bit, but he's going to be okay. Lod is 3-1-0, though. If LawPro want to win this game, it's still that Lod Zed. We've seen him work miracles before.
I feel like Lod the God, every time we see him in a game and he's in action, we always have to talk about him.
Yep.
You know, it feels like a broken record every time we see him. It's like, this guy swapped from AD carry, best decision LawPro's ever made because it put them on the map. And it really, really did, and that's why we say it, 'cause every game, he kind of shows up really hard for his team.
It's a bit of an overstatement, because it's I'll get made fun of for this comparison, but it's basically like SKT with Faker.
Okay.
Faker's the reason SKT is good. I realize Faker's better than Laud, but Laud is still the reason that LoLPro is good right here. And he's doing what he can on the Zed. 3-1-0.
Yeah, if you compare anybody to Faker, you're going to get...
Yeah, you can't even compare Dade to Faker.
Nobody.
Literally nobody can be compared to Faker. But if you pick one man, it's Laud.
Wow.
I don't know.
You just enjoy being a troll.
I just like being a troll. Signature, though, still having a pretty good game in Corki. It's been a fairly uneventful bottom lane in a weird way. It's all been from ganks, not the individual battles. But Corki is slowly scaling up here.
Speaking of ganks, though,
Eventime's taking a whole bunch of damage. He's in the wrong spot, kicked in, down he goes, kill to Rux. Patoy binded up in Coast now, the inside track in the mid lane.
There was no place for him to go. Sheep looking for the zone. Meanwhile, Laud, he's split pushing.
He's recalling back, though. He realizes he needs to defend with his team right now, or they're going to lose a tier 2 turret for basically nothing. He can't push fast enough. Here comes the wave. Santorin does some quick counter junking as they wait. Very smart choice by him.
They might go for the red buff here. Might go for some jungle clear.
What are Coast going for? They're going for ward coverage right now.
And now they get to invade off of it. They know that there isn't any vision. They're going to go even deeper. They see that the red buff is up, and it's a fight.
Okay, so 2 wards go down, and red buff control a bit secured. The team is collapsing, but maybe not in time.
I went to Mash.
Zed and Nunu too far away. Mash grabs red, and Coast used that kill to grab a buff steal.
Fade away buff steal there by Mash.
Yep, looked cool while doing it. That's the important thing. Win or lose, if you look cool, that's when it's worth it.
Ooh. Fast push coming up the mid here.
This is good.
From LoLPro. They're going to try to counter this and at least trade an objective. What I've noticed about these teams is that they are very good at taking objectives from each other in an effective trade.
And LoLPro didn't realize that Morgana and Lucian were so far away. They took a long time to actually hit that darn turret. They do take it down, bring the gold a little bit closer here. Still 4,000 gold. But a very tentative team still for LoLPro.
Yeah, but Coast knew what was going to happen. They had ward coverage of all of these different areas all across the map. They've basically littered the map with wards, so they see most jungle movements. And once again, it is a double Sightstone jungler here for both sides.
It should help LoLPro a bit, though. They've been not necessarily lacking in wards per se, but it's just so much easier when you've got double Sightstone. Maybe it'll give them a little bit more tenacity to actually push in and take some more risky plays because they can see a bit more. They're just a little bit too passive for my liking.
Yeah, the plays that they've been making and the Nunu on their team, but also that filtering into their lack of objective control. They need to start making use of that. Every time you see a Nunu, if the Nunu does nothing, he really is a nothing in the game. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to blood boil a Corki.
It's just
great.
I mean, okay-ish.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better than not blood boiling a Corki.
I'm gonna blood boil myself.
That's fairly useless. Thankfully, you can do it anyway by just blood boiling someone else. Gets the buff. So, LoLPro. It's been the Laud show most of this series. Again, he's still onto a good start. We just haven't seen them been able to make any moves. His split pushing's been stopped by the fact that Coast are so good at pushing themselves. Heaven Time gets rooted in place. The fight's going to start half HP. Nunu comes out, finds 2. Santorin goes in. There's Rux. Signature at half HP, but out goes Rux. Between the front line, there's Santorin. Knocks in Signature, who tries to flash away. He stays alive, but Sheep is going to zone out the team. Heaven Time nearly dead. Laud forced to run away, and in comes Santorin and Mash. That will be a kill.
Ignite.
Santorin is ignited, but he shields himself. He actually survives. A 2-for-0 for Coast.
He kicked back Signature, and that caused the team to just split. And the Dragon is up in 10 seconds now with 20-second death timers on LoLPro. This most surely is going to be a Dragon for Coast as they wait for it to spawn.
Absolutely. There's jungler dead, mid laner, playmaker gone. Nothing much else that LoLPro can do right now.
Santorin getting out with under 100 HP off the Ignite. Shielding himself, standing there, accepting his fate, whatever it may be.
I think the kill gave him not only a level up, but also the heal from Dangerous Game.
Yeah, big part here with the TP positionings. Hanser doesn't do a whole lot this fight. He has to walk all the way around. Santorin flashes in front of the Valkyrie and kicks him back. That gets Zig completely out of the fight. And now Hanser, he's trying to throw briefcases at Rux, but they just aren't standing for it. Laud, he turns around, but doesn't get an auto attack off, so he decides to do it a little bit later. and that is a sub 100 HP Lee Sin.
He didn't even level up. It was just him being awesome. And I think it was actually WMAX second Lee Sin, by the way. That shield seemed big. Yep, I can see right now in Spectator.
Yeah.
3 points in shield. Saved his life. Hanser and Lod, they're going to make this play on the run.
Go straight after
they go. Hanser pulls aggro. Santorin shows up, kicks back Hanser, and Lod does not have the damage required. But here comes Signature. Maybe he can do enough. They want this fight, but Sheep shows up for defense. Top lane turret may still go down. Lawpro finally making a couple of moves here. But there's enough defense they can't make it in.
Just back and forth, trading the objectives between these two teams. And something we haven't touched on in a while, our featured matchup was between the bot lane of Mash and Sheep, Signature and Patoy.
Yeah.
And the big question was, can Signature and Patoy hang?
They can.
And exactly, they definitely can hang with this bot lane. This is a bot lane that usually crushes their opponents in Challenger.
True.
They usually get an advantage in lane, even if it's somebody like Maple Street and Dodo, it goes back and forth sometimes. Mash will get out of the lane, and it's like, well, we can't really deal with him, but they keep him down, and they go even. This bot lane can definitely hang.
Signature 1-0 and 2 right now. Definitely putting up a decent performance. Got away from the Santorin engage. Patoy 0-0-2. Ult's largely on point. But can they convert much more? Because there's, I feel like, it's kind of like a low farm game in a way. You can see the CS. No one's even near that 10 per minute. Oh, Lod just caught out entirely, though. That is not good. Mash going to shove down the wave, and Coast to get a turret off this.
Lod the God?
Lod got caught like a cod.
Okay, we're not doing this.
No, we're not.
No rhymes, please.
Oh, Patoy gets rooted up. The Q lands. In they go. Shockwave blows him up. Heaven Time is locked down as well. Coast with a big fight. 7,000 gold up. Mid lane tier 2 under fire. Rux runs away. He's nice and safe. Down it goes. 8,000 gold lead for Team Coast. They are poised to make this 3-1.
And Lod not being in that fight was huge for them. Zed brings a lot of wave clear. He brings a lot of area, sphere of influence that basically says you can't be here. He was clearing out a pink ward, and Santorin kicks him into Mash, and they immediately blow him up. They trail off the fight, and they end up getting that tier 2 turret in mid. So, all in all, a really good catch out there to catch him basically with his pants down while he's doing a pink ward.
Signature, just playing defense. It feels like Lawpro have not been able to do much as a team. They've made some nice attempts at roaming plays, but Loud was once 3-1, now 3-3. Everything's stopped for them. Signature has been 1-0-2 for like this entire game. They've not been able to show up for Dragons in time. They're getting picked apart, I should say, by Coast. The binds have been great. The Rux flanks have been great. Santorin's engages have been good.
That's good armor,
but they go in on Rux. Can they blow him up? Looks like yes. Shutdown comes across. Now it's a 5 versus 4. Can they do more? Shockwave only gets Hanser, but Signature gets taken down 1v1 by Mash, and Hanser will be next. 2 for 1 despite Lawpro getting the pick. Santorin on the chase. Ward hops in, but that's too much for him. Bind comes out. He will not quite trade back, but the 2-man piercing light. Mash has 3 kills in this battle so far. Heaven Time now in a bad spot. Can he get away?
Yeah, the persistent damage was not there from Signature. He got caught out, and Mash just blew him up. And now, Heaven Time, he's on the run for his life. Nunu between the turrets. Run, Nunu, run!
He is running, but he's going to get cut off here by Sheep. It's a 4-for-2 battle about to be... Whoops.
Oh, the jukes! Yet he got moves.
He's trying. He runs fast. Binds up in a second here. Can he make it? Ice Blast? Auto... Oh!
Oh!
But
the red
Mash,
buff.
not in range for red. He's out.
Ooh.
Heaven Time.
Party Pooper Nunu at it again.
He's blessed. We'll stay alive for a little while longer.
So
watch this
Mash actually comes straight over. Crit, 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 crit. Boom.
Dash.
Crit.
Bam.
Sometimes that just happens.
Yep. That's why you buy an Infinity Edge on Lucian.
You're so proud of that.
I love that item.
I saw the Twitter conversation with
More than Trinity Force, I love Infinity Edge. Yep, I said it. It's true.
Yeah, it has been updated.
The only true way to deal tons of damage is now Infinity Edge. Deal with it.
I saw your tweet back and forth with Sneaky.
Yeah, he tried it.
You're like, why? He's like, why is it the best second item? And you're like, try it, bro. And he's like, I did it.
15-0-4 in Challenger on Corki.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I did magic, but look at magic right here.
Teaching him the ways. Heaven Time goes down, though. 15-7 now for Team Coast. And 9,000 gold up.
Santorin told me if he plays Lee Sin, he's going to insect some kids, and he just did.
Yes, he did. Down they went. Patoy running away with the shield. Mash doesn't care too much. It's whatever. He's 4-2-6. Got plenty of damage there. Lod and Hans are on the split push together. The two of them actually knocking on an inhibitor, and Rux would die if he defends this, I think. I think LoL Pro would just go hard for that kill. It
worked for him last time here. Santorin is actually behind them.
Now it's a little bit more difficult.
2-on-2.
They want the fight. Nope. Nope. Actually, good damage from Rise. Lod's at half. Gotta be careful.
Used all of his energy, too.
Oh, they go in on Santorin. He flashes. He takes some good damage, though. Looks like he will get out, and Lod is one hit from dead, but now Haunter's on the chase. Inside the base, though, Sheep is already engaged and taken down one. This is not good for LoL Pro, but maybe Haunter can make it work anyway. Rune Prison there. Oh! In comes Rise. Picks up 1-for-1. Now Rux has got to be careful.
Oh, the
flashes, gets the Q, gets the kill, and in the base, there's still more fights happening. Coast took 4 kills for 1 just now.
They ended up getting the Nunu much earlier, too, so it was actually a 4-on-5 overall in the entire map, and then they get 4 of them afterwards. So LoL Pro, they had some questionable plays here.
Oh, man.
Oh. So Coast made a fake backwards that they are going to reinforce towards that top lane. And LoL Pro was saying, no, we have to stop them.
Yep.
Had to go into an area that they didn't have complete control of, because if you look at it from Coast, it is warded up the wazoo, and LoL Pro has not been around that area for a while.
Those wards right there, that's why you ward lanes as you retreat. When turrets go down, keep wards up on lanes. They're high traffic areas. That trap is exactly evidence of that.
And Golden Glue has actually had a really good game in terms of team fighting. 1-0 and 11 for himself. He's not shown himself a lot, but when he shows up, it's off of a shockwave. It's off of some catches for his team that are set up usually by Santorin. And Rux, he's having a good game. The first good game he's had this series.
Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of that to the fact that Santorin is on a gank-heavy jungler that causes a lot of pressure in lanes.
Yeah.
Because he's even. He's actually 20 CS down on Haunter despite the early game pressure and visits.
And that's one thing to keep in mind is, like, Haunter picked this really passive, I'm going to try to farm lane.
Ooh.
Didn't get the gank. Zig low, though. Knockback on a Heaven Time. Coast up 12,000 gold, but they've got to respect this. Zig has to heal to get away. Ice Blast on Mash. The ball, though, is going to hurt these guys. They've got to be careful about the Shockwave, about the distance. Someone he'll use the Flash Engage. 2-man Shockwave. In goes Santorin. Double kill from rank 2 Tempest. And in goes Mash. Kill some minions.
Lod was not able to be a part of that fight at all. His death mark is still available. And Golden Glue, he got a nice Shockwave on 2 priority targets that they wanted to take off the field. 2 very squishy targets. Because Haunter flash briefcased, and he kind of abandoned his team to peel for them.
Yeah. And you saw how much damage can go through on that back line. You've got a very fed Orianna and a very fed Lucian. That can kill a Nunu and a Braum, honestly. LoL Pro are trying this Baron, face of a ward. Here comes Coast. Lod cannot stop these guys. You've got to peel away from this.
Yeah, Heaven Time isn't even there. He just respawned.
Rux is fast.
Hasn't blown his ultimate either.
Uh-oh.
He's going to blow
Mash
that
is
now.
here. There's the Rune Prison. Lod has to go in, but he dies right away. Now Haunter's got to be careful. Signature thankfully gets a slow from Patoy to peel Mash away.
It's a 13,000 gold lead at 32 minutes.
Yeah.
LoL Pro, we talked about, they do not play well from behind. They usually crumble.
Well, they've got it right now. They are staring defeat in the face. Coast is about to be the 3rd and final team to join from the Challenger Series in the promo.
And the home guard.
TP's in. He wants this. Can he make this fight happen? Heaven Time is low. There's the knockup. Sheep gets a 1-man ulti. Haunter goes down. Sheep will not even die either. Santorin is still on Baron. That's picked up by Coast on top of the 1-for-0. And now they're even farther ahead. Boy blocks for Signature, but is also so low.
That was another brilliant shockwave by Golden Glue
to
chunk out the members of LoL Pro and keep them in the back line and stopping them from reinforcing Haunter.
Exactly. And Haunter went down for it. 15,000 gold plus a Baron buff now for Coast. If they buy, they don't even have to be honest, but there's plenty of money for them to spend here.
Coast, they are looking poised to take this game and go 3-1 over LoL Pro. If they do it, they secure that 3rd spot. Rux.
Oh, Lod's trying to make the plays on a Mash. His ulti's still down. Ignite. Not enough. Mash lives. The death mark is just now back up. And Laud, the crowd yells, good try. I agree.
It was a good try.
I agree, but Mash survives it.
Going for that high priority target of Mash, not picking it up for himself.
It's only getting worse now for LoL Pro. Laud now 6-7-1. Honestly, the scoreline down the line, not very good for LoL Pro here. They just have not found a good team fight for themselves. Rux got out ahead really early on. You can see Hauntzer can do well in the one-on-ones, but the problem is just not enough because the team fights have just always gone well for Coast. Hauntzer very close to going down. Heaven Time, though, could come help this one out. There's the TP. Absolute zero. Even spams laugh on his way out.
Where did he go? He was just there.
Yep.
Yeah. They didn't even see him TP out.
They've now got to vacate Rux City.
They've been evicted.
From a city?
Yes.
I don't know if you can do that.
Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe Rux City's just a building. Maybe it's a fictitious place.
Well, Team Coast are destroying LoL Pro's city right now, though. Bottom inhibitor goes down. Mid lane fight comes in. Laud's got to be careful. Trying to run away. He'll do so.
I don't know. I think Santorin's going to have something to say about that.
Oh, the Q lands. There's Deathmark. Dodges the E. Kicks him back in. One hit from dead. Q lands. Nice kill by Santorin.
Santorin has been having a great series for himself and picking up the Lee Sin in this last game. Really coming up big
12, making the big plays. Maybe soon there'll be hashtag LCS big plays. Santorin's trying. Mid lane turret's gonna go down now. Inhibitor open. 5v4. Baron buff. Giant gold lead. Mash leads the charge. LoL Pro push back again. 2 inhibitors down 36 minutes in.
Signature's trying to split push in the meantime, but I don't know how much he's gonna get off this. Rux is right behind him.
Yeah, he's stuck inside the base in a really bad spot. Down to the Nexus turrets. First one's gonna go down. Santorin happy to tank as the minions flood in as well. This will now be 2 Nexus turrets going down. This could be the game. 36 minutes. Team Coast gonna make their way to the North American Spring Promotion Tournament for 2015. 2 auto attacks away, and they're in the Nexus for good measure. There it is. We'll be seeing them in September.
I don't even want to
make it into the LCS possibly.
The spring or the summer promotion tournament participants, champions, Summer 1, Summer 2, finally showing up here today, redeeming themselves. Santorin, most recent addition. We had Mashme in the jungle at the start of the season, and now he's come up really big for his team. His scoreline, fantastic. His pressure, absolutely on point.
Yeah.
He came up really big for his team.
Well, a massive game for these guys. 3-1 the overall scoreline. You can see more relief and dedication on their faces. They're not nearly as elated as you might expect, but they know it was a very hard-fought series. They know there's still mistakes to be fixed. They know they've got a tough road ahead of them still. There's some very strong LCS teams waiting for them in a month. They're going to have to beat in their own best-of-5 there. Hugs for the players. Mash knows he did well. Golden Glue knows he did well. That Orianna was great. 3-0-15. Set up his team. And we'll be seeing these guys again.
4 ex-LCS members on that team.
And maybe 5 future LCS members in that team.
Exactly. Now here's the thing too. If you're one of those bottom LCS teams, who do you pick? Coast are arguably the strongest. They just had a bad day yesterday.
Sure.
But a lot of people will say. The thing is they came 3rd here. That's not a great display of power compared to a team like Team 8 that 2-0'd them.
It's true. And it really does matter which Coast shows up.
Yes.
Game 1 Coast here is the Coast we remember. Game 4 Coast, pretty close to the Coast we remember. In the middle of that series, it was rough, but we saw they were able to bounce back. So it's good to know that these guys can hold it together in close best-ofs. The longest series they've played for Challenger Series so far is BO3s, and they 2 almost every single time. They don't look like they're scared of anything. They get shaken, we do see them bounce back. That's good news for the team, that they can bounce back. They can keep from tilting. They can make this fight happen. But you got to see how well they compare now over the next month.
Oh, yeah, their mental fortitude for this series, and also losing yesterday 2-0 against a team that they were expected to beat and that a lot of them predicted 2-0s over.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Santorin, he was really, really hard on himself after that loss. He's like, you know, I got to come back. I had a terrible Nunu game. And he comes back and he plays 3 really pretty good Nunu games. You cannot attest any of those defeats, the 1 defeat, to his play for the most part.
Yeah. Lee Sin, though, also rather impressive. So you can see there.